Welcome to Viking Spotlight. This is a podcast about people, events, and projects in the North Canton City School District. I'm your host, Jeff Wendorf, and today we're thrilled to be talking to Mr. David Pilati. He's the Assistant Superintendent here at North Canton City Schools. Dave's headed up the district's fundraising efforts for St. Baldrick's the last several years, and each school building has volunteers who are helping us to raise money to defeat childhood cancer. Before becoming an administrator, Dave was a math teacher at Glen Oak High School, where he became friends with the Fultz family that started the Canton chapter of St. Baldrick's in honor of Abby Fultz, who was a 1999 Glen Oak High School graduate who was diagnosed with cancer during her freshman year of high school and passed away in 2000. Thanks for joining us, Dave.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Certainly. Well, you do lots and lots of things in the district, and I very much appreciate that, and the district does. But one of the most awesome things you do is to help coordinate this effort that our buildings are involved in. And gosh, I don't even know how many years we've been doing it now. 4?
This is year number 5. It started out in 2018 with, I think, just a real small number of participants, and it really wasn't. We didn't have a team at each school. So 2019 was the first year we had teams at each school.
Right. Good. Yeah. Well, you've been a strong leader in this and helped coordinate it through your friendship with the Fultz family and getting it going. And what motivated you to be a part of it?
Well, I guess getting to know the Fultz family first was what motivated me to get involved. And back in 2010, when I was, an administrator at Plain Local, I decided that year to shave my head for the first time, and I knew the Fultz family and got involved. And then each year following, I think that while I was still working in Plain Local, myself and my wife always were involved in some way. While I didn't shave my head anymore, we would donate a basket for the silent auction and do something like that. So we were always a little bit part of the event, and we always supported the event and went to the event. But I guess what really motivated me to truly get involved then beyond that, and the last 4 years or here, I guess, would be, when I learned the facts, I just learned that, there's more children lost to cancer in the United States than any other disease. And they say, worldwide, every 2 minutes, another child's diagnosed with cancer. And before kids turn 20, about 1 in 285 children in the United States will have cancer. So when you learn those things, and I came to learn that really there's a very small fraction of the research funding every year in the United States goes towards cures for childhood cancer. That's, I guess, what made me get motivated to really, truly get involved to the level that I am now.
Sure. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. So tell us a little bit about St. Baldrick's, how it was created, how it's evolved, and those kind of things as far as that particular organization.
So it's an interesting story. So I think it was back in about 1999. There were 3 individuals that worked together, and one of them challenged the other 2 to shave their heads, and just they would all donate the money to cancer research. And what started out, and that was, I guess, 1999, and I think they actually did it, those 3 did it, and I'm not sure how much money they raised, but they raised a little bit of money. But a year later, they decided to kind of make the event a little bit bigger, and they had 17 people who their goal was 17 people to shave their heads and raise $17,000, and they ended up with, I think it was 19 people who shaved their heads, and they raised a little over $100,000. So that was kind of the first event. Then the following year, those same 3 individuals coordinated another event, and this time they raised about $140,000, and this was in Manhattan. So fast forward, throughout the years, I think they formed a foundation then in about 2005, and that year I think they raised a little over $5 million in their event, and or in the events worldwide as a foundation. And at that time, I don't think they were worldwide. I think they were just here in the United States. But then fast forward to 2014, they raised a little over $27 million worldwide. And St. Baldrick's as a foundation has raised, I think, over about $314 million have been donated in grants or funded in grants for research for childhood cancer since they became a foundation in 2005. So they've had a huge impact worldwide.
Yeah, very, very efficient operation and what they do, certainly for great efforts and stuff. So that's awesome. So typically participants have their heads shaved, and you know about that. You've been doing it for quite a few years. Lots of us at the district have participated in that. And what's it like to have your head shaved in front of hundreds of people?
it's a unique feeling. I remember the very first time I did it back in 2010, and at that time I think it was still held at Quaker Steak and Lube, not at the North Canton Racquet Club as it has been until the last couple of years because of COVID. But they hope to get back to the North Canton Racquet Club and do an in-person event next year again. But it was a feeling like I'd never had. I mean, you're up there and you know that you're doing this for a greater cause, and then you see easily 100 people watching you as you do it, and you probably have, at that time I had probably another 9 or 10 on each side of me who were getting their head shaved at the same time, and you realize that you're doing something individually, but you're part of a large group that's making a huge impact, and really a neat feeling and a good feeling.
Yeah, that event was quite an event. Lots going on, lots of opportunities for food and fun there. There's families and survivors and childhood cancer survivors, adult survivors, and just a really neat atmosphere. I'm sorry we couldn't go the last couple of years because of the COVID piece, but glad to hear that's coming back.
Yeah, and if anyone's never been to that, and I would encourage them to get out to it next year. It should be back. It'll be right around this time, usually around the second Sunday in March. It'll be at North Canton Racquet Club, but yeah, just to give you an idea how big it has become, just in the last 4 years, from 2019 through this year, with the money they've already raised this year, they raised like slightly over $1 million just that North Canton Racquet Club event. And like you said, at the North Canton Racquet Club, they'll have probably about 20 to 25 people getting their head shaved every 5 minutes, all up on a stage, and there's probably another 300 or 400 people there participating. There's silent auction items. There's food provided by Quaker Steak and Lube. There's people just good fellowship, and then as you said, there's cancer survivors there every year. There's people there who have had who've been touched by cancer. I remember about 3 or 4 years ago for me. I saw a former student of mine that I had coached. She was a cross-country runner in middle school, and she had real long hair. And here she was, and that was close to 20 years ago that I coached her. And here she was a mom in our district, and she had lost her mom to cancer, and she was getting all of her hair shaved off and donating her hair, I think, to Locks of Love or another organization. And she had a lot of hair, and that was really touching. So you see people, people like that who have been touched, and
it's a fun, celebratory, but also somber day in some ways. Yeah. Well, this event, and at North Canton in our time here in the last 6 years, it's evolved quite a bit. I'm going off script a little bit. Dave's looking at his notes, but
sorry.
Our first year, I think we had a student actually in the intermediate that kind of him and his mom said, "Hey, let's get this going at North Canton." Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think you're probably talking about Nolan Cornell,
yes.
And his mom Amy is a counselor over at Jackson local schools, and we had about, I think, 21 people that year participated and raised almost $9,000. And then it was the following year, Amy, his mom, really helped us. She helped every one of our school teams set up their team website on the St. Baldrick's page, and really worked with all of our team captains to get us the information and the resources that we needed. And then she did the same thing the following year. So in 2019 and 2020, she did that. And really now she's there for us and helps us a little bit, but she really was instrumental in getting this going. And we still include her in all of our communication. But and geez, just to give you an idea of what we did as a district, that first year a little over or almost $9,000. That second year in 2019, we went from 21 to 148 people, and we raised almost $58,000. And in 2020 was an amazing year. We went up to 216 participants and raised over $114,000. So It dipped a little bit last year because of COVID, but it dipped worldwide. But we still raised like $77,000, and we're over $61,000 right now this year.
Yeah, that spring of 2020, I think that was one of the last events before we shut down.
It was just about a week before school about a week before school shut down. But I tell you what, you're going to, I'll wait to say my next thing because I know you're going to touch on it.
Well, so you talked a little bit about the numbers those first couple of years. What's the effect that North Canton's had on St. Baldrick's?
So prior to our getting involved, back in 2017, 2018, the North Canton Racquet Club, they were, I think, raising in the right around $200,000 or in the high $100,000 per event. And, in 2020, when we had our huge year, they raised $354,518, and that was the first time they had ever topped $300,000. And even last year, in an off year, they still raised $248,000. So I think our impact, along with Jackson's impact, has been huge because each of the last 3 or 4 years, we account for somewhere around 80 to 82% of the funds that are raised for that event. And Jackson is amazing. They're our rival, as you know, and we have a nice friendly competition with them, and they really are the ones that motivated us, I think, to get involved. As you know, I think they've done it for a few years, and they kind of reached out to us after that first year when we had about 21 participants and said, hey, why don't you really go district-wide? And we did, and we've never been able to quite beat them, but I think we've pushed them to achieve even more, and that's a win-win for everybody.
Right, and we'll use statistics to help us describe a little bit. Our per capita fundraising is higher than theirs. They have more people than us, but
it is. We last year I want to say they raised around $300 per participant, and we raised like $578 per participant. So we're smaller, but we're mightier.
That's right. And those are fun things. The superintendents have gotten theirs cut in the past together, and we've had our mascots there and had some fun with it. And it's been a great thing. But we always kind of keep track of each other and trying to make sure we raise, one, for a great cause, but two, more than each other. Mm-hmm. So, man, we'll keep an eye on that per capita thing because that's a good measure. But so, the pandemic put a temporary hold on it, and so you're anticipating that we're going to be able to get back next year to the.
That's what I'm told. Yeah, I received an email yesterday from one of the organizers of the Canton area St. Baldrick's, and she said they're hoping that they'll be back in person next year.
Yeah, awesome. So we have all of our buildings represented, and I know the district office you do, and I have in the past has kind of joined a team and so on. How many district? We have 7 buildings or with the preschool, but I don't think they do a particular team.
Well, they do. They do a team. They've raised over $2,000 just at the preschool.
Yeah, and I think Greentown's been our leader in the district for several years. They have a pretty efficient fundraising arm, not only for St. Baldrick's but other things too.
In fact, right now Greentown is the #1 team in all of the Canton area St. Baldrick's event, and they held on to that for a while, and then a little over a week ago, Lake Cable Elementary passed them up. But interestingly, 2 nights ago, I got a text from Ryan Kumpf, the principal at Greentown, and he sent me a screenshot of the standings from the St. Baldrick's website, and Greentown was back on top with Lake Cable #2, and Ryan's text message to me simply said, it was the picture, and it just said, come get us. And they're still holding on here a couple days later, but that lead is slim. I think it's about $400 over Lake Cable, and Lake Cable has about 141 or 148 participants, and Greentown has 65.
Yeah.
They both have raised about $24,000, which is amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah. Ryan's just a little bit competitive.
A little bit.
That's okay.
And that's good.
We like our Vikings competitive. Yeah, awesome. Well, the question that I had, one other question that I had is of our teams, they've all been competitive. They're all a little bit different and so on, and it's just fun to see them participate. And so is there anything else you want to share with us about St. Baldrick's?
Well, if anyone would like to donate still, we would love for them to donate or get involved and be a participant, or do both. We're still taking more participants, but if they want to donate, they can go to our district website, northcantonschools.org, and if they just scroll down the page a little bit, they'll see a picture of David Russ, who's a teacher at Claremont Elementary, and he's the team leader for the St. Baldrick's team at Claremont, and it's a picture of David, I think, from maybe 2 or 3 years ago when he was getting his head shaved at the in-person event. And then there's a link right under David's picture. It says read more, and if you click on that, it'll take you to a new page that has a link for every single one of our school teams. And anyone who wants to donate, if they have somebody they know who is participating on one of those school teams, you click on that link, and then that'll take them to the St. Baldrick's team page, and they can find that individual participant, click on their link, and then they can donate. Right. And if they don't know somebody, just, pick one at random and donate. Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you see students and staff, especially the elementary kids, getting involved in raising money, and it's girls too, shaving their heads for a great cause.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about getting involved. There's local barbers and beautician and beauty shops that are involved. In fact, I think some went, or maybe this Friday, are going to go to one of the elementary schools and do.
There is one, yeah, it's
there.
coming to one of our schools, and then I know of at least 2 different barber shops, beautician shops that are shaving this coming Sunday, and there's some local barbers and beauticians who have been volunteer, because they've all volunteered their time. So when they do this, even when it's not an in-person event, it's free. You go in, they volunteer their time, and same thing when it's in person. And there's some that have been with the Canton Area St. Baldrick's event since it started 20 years ago, donating their time every year. So to those individuals, I just say thank you for what you've done.
Yeah, yeah.
And let me just say thank you to the Foltz family that I know from Plain Local, because to have lost a child to cancer, I just can't imagine that. But what they've done to create such a positive event that just helps so many others. I mean, just in the last 4 years, I think it is that event's raised over $500,000 or $1 million, I'm sorry, in the last 4 years. So they continue to do amazing things to help others and keep the memory of their daughter, Abby, alive.
Right. Yep. It's amazing work that folks at St. Baldrick's do, and everybody in participating, and the friendly rivalry we've had with Jackson and others, and even amongst our buildings to who can raise more money and so on. And it's just a great event. So if you want to participate, go to northcantonschools.org and find that link for St. Baldrick's. You'll see somebody on the picture getting their head shaved. That's the clue.
Yep.
Or just search for St. Baldrick's in North Canton City Schools, and you'll find one of our teams. So
no amount's too small.
No amount is too small. No amount is too large either.
That's also true.
So, we appreciate all dollars. Yeah. Anything else you want to share, Dave?
Just thanks for having me on, and appreciate it.
Yep. Well, probably likely the next time I see you, you'll have a different hairdo. So.
I will have a different haircut in a few days, yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming with us today, and your efforts for helping organize St. Baldrick's at North Canton. Next week, we'll welcome Gretchen Leckie-Ewing, who will be talking with us about SUMA celebration at Hoover High School. It's an exciting time, and these are great events at our high school to celebrate top scholars. If you have any questions about the celebration for St. Baldrick's or any of the other items we've talked about or coming up for SUMA celebration, ideas for new podcasts, questions, we'd be happy to answer those. Just give us an email at vikingspotlight@northcantonschools.org. That email is vikingspotlight@northcantonschools.org. And just reach out. Any ideas, we'd love to chat with you. We're thinking about doing a mailbag at some point. So if you send your questions, we'd be happy to answer those on an upcoming podcast. So thanks for listening, and go Vikings.